Well, team, it looks like if you were waiting for the January effect, you might need to wait a little bit longer into January. Seems like we're battling right now. We did get a little lift here towards around 245 to the VWAP. Can we get through it? Can we get back there towards 383? Or do we end closer towards the bottom side of the range? Let's find out from Joel Elconin what was moving, what was on his radar, and of course, what are you guys looking out there? Throw it up in the chat. Let's talk about it. This is At the Close.
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
3 consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
What's going on, Joel? You're back, and guess what? At the close, team, if you weren't for some reason in pre-market prep, well, guess what, team? We got Joel Elconin charts back. You know it. Team's going to be excited about that. I know that they were definitely eager to get out of my TC life, get really quickly back into the future. As I like
All
to
right.
say.
That's and all of okay, here we go. I just got to remember how to do it. I got settings. Mitch, how come I'm going settings and it's
Just go to present. They're using that word present.
Oh man, what are they doing? They're changing things up on me. All right, it's funny because two different people can look at a chart and look at it two different ways, and I'm kind of encouraged by the activity today. And
All right.
yeah, and what I'm looking at here is this 3,800 level. A couple bottoms there in late November. You came down in December. You came down again in December, actually breached it. You guys went down there when I was gone last week. Well, actually, I was here for one day, but you went down there on Thursday and Friday. And then you went down there again. So we're either setting up for the vacuum flush down to 3,500 or say hello to 3,800. It's the new 3,500. But I like to support. Of course, with every support, there's resistance. And I've been talking about 3,900. Sure, we got there through in the pre-market. But you know what? During the regular session, that rally stopped right on a dime at 39.0150. And here we are right in the middle, coming back 30 handles off the low. So still no yet decision on whether the buy the dip rally is going to take effect, or we're just going to continue with that rough market that we had in 2022. Weird day. The buck and gold are strong. The buck had been in a trading range. Now it's kind of peeking its head up towards the upper end, up a $1.02 at 104.29. Bonds, they're off their high, the 30-year bond, but still up nearly a stick. Crude, $80, man. That is the big number on the upside. $80. The high was over that today at 81.50, but you've given it back. Now down 318 at 17 or at 77.08. Gold, this could be a new high, closing high for the move. Made a new high at 1856, up 1780 at 1844. Silver, a little bit of a lagger today. That made a new high for the move, but now closing near the lower end of the range. And Bitcoin, wake me up when it's either below 16.5 or above 17,000.
All right, let's get into the action. Let's take a look at our leadership, right? We talked about this, right? How would our leadership perform? What will we get into the beginning of the year? We talked about bogeys today, kind of keep on watch, right? It was all about Apple and Tesla. I know I was leaning more to watching Apple. Know that some people were looking for growth types of trades with Tesla, but I feel like Apple really led the way. I know some people are going to say it's Tesla. To me, this market loves to rely on Apple to be strong when the market's strong, and Apple's looking weaker than ever when the market's trying to come back, right? We're looking for rallies, but one of our strongest names is really weak right now. And Apple reporting news today, of course, they came in and talked about that they're telling suppliers to build fewer components for AirPods. Apple Watch, MacBook. And one of the managers at Apple's supplier reported that Apple even alerted us to lower orders for almost all product lines actually since the quarter ending in December. And partly because the demand is not that strong. This came from one of the managers at Apple's supplier. Not what you want to be hearing if you're an Apple investor.
Because everyone has an iPhone.
You don't need the next one.
Yeah,
I think is the consumer finally getting smart? Could that be?
I mean, I try and hold on to them forever, just like anybody else.
Yeah, I do too, man. I mean, broken and all, it doesn't matter.
I thought you were an Android guy.
Yeah, I have a Note. I have a Note 9. That's how old it is, man. A Note 9.
A Note 9?
Yeah, the Galaxy Notes. You remember those?
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, we talked, and a lot of stocks, what I was trying to frame this morning, I don't know if I did it successfully or not, is that, there's resistance in a lot of these issues. And with a higher open, I look for resistance. I don't look for support. I like fade in the opens, and 130.28 open, made quick work of Thursdays and Fridays high, but you got the 131.03. That was your high back on Wednesday. Sellers were lined up at 130.90. Now, the upper left chart, that's a 15-minute bar, but Mitch told me the news hit about 9:35. And, that hit the market as well, made a new low for the move by a wide margin. That's not what I like to see. What I would be waiting for if I was in Apple would be the trio of monthly lows. They're not all at 122 and they're not all at 123, but they're right in this area. So if I wanted to get long Apple or if I wanted to cover short, I mean, that's the area. 1 to 22.49, April 21 high. May of 21, 22 and a quarter, then 23.13. You couldn't quite get there today when you got to 24.17 because you already had, an expanded range day. But that's what I'm looking at. Your top component of the index down 3.9%. That's weighing on the S&Ps. And, when your top component is getting beat up like that. I mean, and the other thing I said this morning is, will these stocks, these top components, will they stop going down? They don't have to go up, but just stop going down. Well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen today. Apple dragging down the market. Let's sit tight for the lower 122s.
All right. And then if we look around at the other ones, at least Google and Amazon not doing the worst. I would say Amazon at least a little bit better. That one's actually in the green for the day. Right. And so catch that one, team. I will point out that one to make sure that we're not looking, completely negative. But this one's already been beaten up before. Right. This one had keep coming down through October, through December. So is this one maybe a potential turnaround here?
Yeah, lower. It looks like we're gonna have a lower volume day, but you had to gap up, and if you're probably playing this with the S&P, you probably got tagged a little bit because this one just kept on going. Had broke out. I mean, I don't even know if you call it a breakout. People are probably looking for that 84.05. That was the top of Friday's range. It only got to 84.21. On the upside here, 86.96. I got nothing for you there, but what we'll do is we'll just keep an eye on the $87 area, 87.23. That was your high way back last year on December 21st. So 87 still a key level for Amazon. Google, same kind of thing. The gap and go, never missed the gap by this one at 21 cents. 91.56. I don't know if I mentioned, but that split the lows or split the highs from the 16th and the 19th of the month. 91.75, 91.20. High 91.55. That will be a 3-star level, folks, going into Monday. Now, another good key is I was watching Amazon, and there wasn't much of a lift on the pre-market. They did get a lift off the open, but that is withered away. Now unchanged on the session. Google app. All right, and then let's go to the other big drag on the index, even though it's fallen out of the contention, top 10, top 15. It might not even be in the top 20 anymore. tell me about Tesla.
Yeah, let's talk all about Tesla. As today it went down there towards a low of 104.64. I don't think anybody was thinking that level today, but definitely it got hit hard. Delivery numbers missing the estimate did not help it. A lot of kind of analyst talk out there too. So one of the things that I'm at least really starting to focus on with Tesla is, do we actually start getting negative Tesla news? Because that's what I kind of wanted to bring up this morning, is that at least this was finally actually Tesla, not Elon related, right? And I think that that was something that separated it for me. And that's why I thought it could come back down towards these levels. Now, of course, I'm sure there's washing out of some longs that got caught. Can't blame them, trying to catch the bounce. Now, my biggest thing, will Tesla break into the double digits by the end of the week? I mean, potentially. It's gotten close today, 104. We'll see what happens on for the rest of the week on Tesla.
There's nothing here. And I just want to talk. I mean, Triple D gave me, a little credit, this morning, and it really wasn't credit due. I mean, I mentioned that 50% bounce area at 114. Well, it got a little bit of a bounce. Actually, when it originally hit 114, it did bounce back up to 116. And I'm going to talk about this again tomorrow. And I don't know how many people here play the short side of the market. It used to be a hell of a lot easier. There wasn't as many, usually when they got it going to the downside, there were little blips, but there weren't quite the bounces. But what I failed to do is, I should have say, yeah, well, 114 is a support level, but if it holds support, then you gotta look at it after it takes out support. You got to look at it as a short. Now, I don't know how many people have short accounts that are allowed to do that. But I mean, I think that's one thing, and I was probably a little bit, guilty of in last year, was that, well, the support is support. But when it takes out support, then you got to look to the downside. And when that thing finally breached 114, I mean, you had a pretty easy short, even if you had a target at 108, that former low of the move. It got through that by a wide margin. It would have been hard to catch that. This is material news. I think the one thing that you have to be careful about when you're taking these things home overnight, especially with the Apple, with the recent news, is now these guys are going to come out and they're going to start trimming the estimates and they're going to start downgrading it. And that's going to weigh on the stock. And we definitely saw how that weighed on, what was it, Cigna today. So when stocks are vulnerable and they're in downtrends, those downgrades seem to hold more weight. So that's why I'm still cautious. The next monthly low does not come in on Tesla until you get back to 2020. 91 even I'm not that bearish for now, but let's see. The low of the move is the low of the move. Let's see if it does the double bottom trick like it did previously at the 108 area. So if you come down tomorrow and you get a successful test of this 104.64, maybe make a low 105 and a quarter here, maybe it's something to lean on. But if not, big volume day, and looking for double digits.
For my bull traders that like trading Tesla and can't stand to see the chart like this, just turn the chart to TSLQ.
That's a good alternative, right?
TSLQ. Boom, boom, baby. Breakout city.
But look at this, Mitch. Look at this. This didn't not look at this. This is why these things are so tough. You would have thought that this thing would have blown away that double top. Where was that double top at 91? Well, I guess it got to it. I don't know how highly it's correlated. It went to 91.50 and then pulled back. So this is interesting because you're going to have and then this is just because these are the way these ETFs go. But Tesla, where it's destined here to make a new closing low for the move. Right now, the Tesla with the Q is not 90.61. That was the high close of the recent move, and I mean, this might struggle unless there's a big flush here. This might not settle even over 89 and a quarter, 89.50. So, wow, this thing had a nice range too. Wow, $8-9 range. So, the ETFs, Dennis sometimes talk about, you're better off shorting the stock, the more bang for your buck. Here's a good illustration where, Tesla Q being short the stock, boom, you got 4 points through the low. And I don't know how close, what the correlation is on this, the way one moves with each other. But
Yeah.
if I was long this thing, I'd be pretty bummed that I'm not getting a high closing high for the move. That would need to be above 90.61.
All right, that's how it goes. I mean, and we'll see. And if you need to, you can't short Tesla because you don't have ability. Well, look for other things, right? I mean, you can always find vehicles nowadays, especially inverse vehicles and kind of more day trading vehicles. So be careful out there with those, of course, but definitely in play. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other stocks out there. We talk too much about Kathy. We can talk about that tomorrow. I'm sure we'll get into that tomorrow. Let's take a look at gold trade because I think that a lot of people were taking a look at this trade. Let's talk a little bit about that. We can just do that with GOLD or
I'll go to the stocks. I always look at the futures, but I like to look at the stock. New high for the move, not a new closing high. I mean, I keep waiting for this. This has been in a trading range for so well that the stock hasn't been as much. But GOLD, you didn't fill the gap. I mean, you still got a big old seller up at 18. The high of the move, 1793.50. Today's high, 1795. So you need to get over 18 for another breakout. Let's look at the bullion. Gold futures did gap up, made a new high for the move, and let's see, yeah, it made the high for the day in the AM trading. Gave another look at it. That might have been right on the 9:30 open as well. But new closing high for the move. The just the dollar and gold moving in the same direction here. That's not going to persist forever. So we'll see which one is the first to crack. S&Ps aren't giving up. They're down 16 and a half handles. Let's go quickly to the 15-minute chart. Now the high of the rebound here, and I don't go to your 15 minutes too much, but the high of the rebound has been right here at 38.48. So if the bulls could push it through this 38.48, could we actually end up unchanged on the day? Unchanged would be at 38.68. But if you played the bounce here off that low, even Friday's low gave you a look. It went 7 points through it. It's important for the S&Ps right now to get above that 48 and a quarter and then work its way into 38.50 handle. We're trying.
All right, we'll see what's going on. I wanted to go to now towards the oil stocks, as it seems like today they got drilled down. Definitely, the drill came in and was getting that oil. XOM down towards 105.49. Had a support there already at 105.50s. It looks like I don't know where I had that drawn, but it seems like it lined up.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Now that's what we do here at PreMarket Prep. So let's just talk about the complexion of the market. What
Mhm.
worked in 2022, and what if you had a big old position and you didn't want to pay taxes in 2022, and you just held on. You held on. You know what? I'm gonna get out on Monday, right? Well, on Monday the
Mhm.
markets were closed. I'm gonna get out on Tuesday. So you had the trade coming off. Wow, this 110 area looked really important. One, you might have been waiting for Friday's high or Friday's close, 110.30, 110.50. You didn't get that. You get a turnaround, 105.49. I don't have an imaginary line there, but I would say if the downward momentum continues, the next daily low is 104.10. But just the other thing, just to just to note on this chart, you had your sellers just under 115, right? Theirs was the all-time high. And then we're like, well, we really want out at 110, but you know what? We're going to let it float up. We're going to try and see if we can hit bids between 110 and 112. And then they truly came out over the last 5 days and said, you know what? I want out at 110. I'm not going to be sneaky about it anymore. Crude's not holding 80. And then they came out and they finally had to hit it on weakness today. In the last 5 sessions, you could hit bids on the way up. Today was a sell fest. You can blame oil on this one. Oil resistance has been coming down steadily. Put our head over 80 a couple times, as I mentioned, only closed over 81. So resistance coming down here. I don't know if they're going to be able to take out that 70 and make 70 resistance. But besides people booking the profits from 2022 today, the crude oil futures are not looking good. And then also, if we're having that big, bad recession that everyone fears, not going to need as much oil, right? People are not going to be spending as much as the pump. So, bad day for the oil stocks. Blame it on profit taking. Also, blame it on the crude oil.
Yeah, I've been talking about that. I wonder if, how low can we go this year? I know that there's going to be some people probably making some bold picks there for energy. I myself might be included. I'm going to be looking to see some of these turn around, right? I think energy can turn around. Healthcare is one area that I think could maybe fight a little bit. Technology is definitely, there's going to be pockets. I think that's where you got to really be careful in your stock picking environment. But what do you got there, Joel?
I'm just going to go to the monthly here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a rolling front month contract, so there's a lot of funkiness that goes on with the rollovers and the backwardation and the contangos. But you can see that blow off period. I don't know when crude back in 08, 09. I can't even remember what that was about. Then you had the financial crisis, recovered back up to the 120 area. But I just look at this like this $40 to $60 area. And the crude traded 40 to 60 in 16, 17, 18. It stuck its head above it, came down in 19. We all know what happened with COVID. Got back up. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get back. I just think like the median price of oil over since 2015 it's really been about 60 bucks,
Mm-hmm.
65 bucks. So, you know, that's just what I see. Also, when we were looking at the futures markets, without going into too much detail about the contango and the backwardation, you never got the back month contracts above the front month contract. What that told you was that producers and sellers and people that are pulling it out of the ground are taking advantage of the current prices to sell. And that was the thing that kept me from being bullish oil, even at what Goldman Sachs calling for 250, 300 or whatever. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know. We're gonna get a new trading range, maybe a 2-year trading range of 60 to 80. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't have super historical statistical numbers to give that. It's just kind of just a feel for the market and looking at the charts. S&Ps are knocking on the door here. We talked about 48 and a quarter. But I just tell you, over the last couple days, we've seen these late day rallies, and it's just been fluff. And then they just smack it down overnight. But 48 and a quarter is the high of the recent move. 38.81 was your opening print last night. And the close. I love to see like a double close. 38.61 was the close for Friday. You still have to look at the S&P chart and say, look at it, we backed off again from that area. You still have to say, going back all the way, let's go back since this day, since December 19th, we've been in a trading range between 3,800 and 3,900. We've spent very little time over 3,900, and we spent very little time under 3,800. And here you are at 3,850. So there is another move coming in this market. I just think you either got to bust below 3,800 and make your way towards 3,500, or man, this resistance just looks so good here. Double top at 39.19 area. And just snuck over it in the pre-market. So there you go. Spoo's backing off that 38.48 and quarter level. Once again, 4 minutes left to go, Mitch. Where do you want to go?
All right, I'm looking around trying to find pockets of strength, right? Just looking in the S&P 500. One stock in, two, I'll name two stocks in kind of technology sector that I think are important definitely to kind of keep an eye on that were strong today. Oracle and Meta. So let's run through those really quickly. Whichever one you want to go through first, we can go to it. And it wasn't necessarily, I don't think this is news related. It's just more long focus, right, into the technology sector of what's doing good and what's doing bad. We got decent numbers there from Oracle. And I tried to look to see if it was maybe, like relationship plays like Adobe or Salesforce. And it wasn't. It was more Oracle that was staying strong there. So I'm definitely putting this on my radar. And Meta also, of course, from the continued strength. What do you see on Oracle?
I see this pesky area. Let's just call it $84. And I'm talking about monthly highs, folks. 83.78, 84.51, and 84.52. This was back earlier in 2022. Those months were February, March, and April. You kissed it again in November, snuck over it December by a little bit, but you're bumping up against the monthlies here, monthly resistance, and not really backing down. This is kind of akin to this JP Morgan chart. It's up near resistance and it's not going through resistance, but it sure as heck doesn't look like it's going down at any time. So I would see if you could get that suspended breakout over $84. You had this got ridiculous at the end of 2021. 106. Did we get to 56? No. 106. That's 40. 40, 46, 23. Add 20. Oh, look at that. Your 50% retracement right there at 83.84. So moment of truth coming up real close here for Oracle. And then what was the other one you said?
Meta.
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 Meta. It's going to fill
Into the
gap.
meta.
It's going to fill the gap. Meta. Now, Mitch and I talked about it. There's a gap to fill here. So if you're holding out for this long, 128.53, that's my target on the upside. That's only $4 away. A little, the TikTok ban talk is all it is. But that's something that'd be good for Meta. This stock has not even decided to sniff at 50%. I mean, it has even had maybe it's had a 10% retracement, but this is a big fall from grace. I know Gene Munster's bullish. I know Sean Udall's been bullish since higher prices. But it looks like you're going to get that gap fill, and it looks like a short-term breakout here. You had I remember this being 124.50 area. So you're breaking above that. You're making a new high for the move. You're making a new closing high for the move. This is the kind of chart that I'm looking for resistance. But Mitch is saying, this thing looks kind of good here. I want to buy it. And that's the trend. The trend is your friend so far. But let's fill it up to the gap fill. What I would like to do is see a gap fill, like an earnings miss or some bad news, and then it comes in and then get, maybe buying on a retreat. Well, we had the buying balances. They were squared off into the close. That 48.25, just a little bit too much. We just had some vacuum selling there into the close. So starting the year out on a down note, Mitch. And then, let's see. I just tomorrow's guest is I'm not sure. I think he's going to come on at 8:35. It's going to be Tim Seymour. So we'll get a look at talk to Tim and see what he has to say about the market. So, Mitch, glad to be back with you here on the first day of the year. I don't think Dennis or I yelled at you or got mad at you the entire year so far.
Not yet. We'll have to find out. You guys can find out by sticking around, checking it right here. None other than, of course, Benzinga. You guys will see Joel tomorrow. Like always, we'll be with you guys in the morning. Don't miss us. Pre-market prep, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. And it's always fun to hear what Dennis has gone through, what kind of experiences he's seeing. We gained so much knowledge from the experience from our main traders. Check them out, team. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. And like always, do us the favor. Hit the share button. Tell everybody. If you want to learn about the markets, maybe you're just not a trader, but maybe you're an investor. Tune in to Pre-Market Prep, our flagship show. Check it out, team. Hit the thumbs up. If for any reason you've never seen it, just go do so right now. Hit down below. Hit that Benzinga. Go to Pre-Market Prep this morning. Tell us what you think. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And like always, keep working on your skills on the #1 place to grow right here, Benzinga.